Hi, my name's Steve Vandersteen. I'm the Vice Commodore Sailing for WFSC Sailing Club, and this is a message to the members of that club. Since the lockdown measures were put in place, we've tried to keep in contact with you all through Facebook, emails and newsletters. The club have put together a COVID action group, and we've been meeting on a regular basis to manage the club during these uncertain times. Jonathan Latham, our Commodore, has now put an email out with the measures that this CV Action Group has put together to allow us to move towards a phased opening of our grounds, clubhouse and facilities. This will take place over time in line with our understanding of current government guidelines. We hope this meets your approval and expectations as a member of the club. And I've been nominated to do my first ever video and communicate this through the Facebook group site and the website. So our phased route map. It's been issued as part of Jonathan's email, and it's at issue 1. And this is in line with the 5 steps that the government announced with the associated caveats communicated to us earlier in May. Step 1 is initially was when the government started to release manufacturing and construction back to work, where people can now meet other people from different households in open air, drive to beauty spots, play golf, tennis, but also in that 50-page document to allow sailing and boating activities, unlimited exercise, but no sporting events. And we've already started to see now the gradual opening of other sailing clubs starting to allow recreational sailing. Step 2 is when children go back to school, we start to open non-essential shops, we start to see behind closed doors sporting events and sailing clubs open for maintenance and recreational sailing. Step 3 is when we start to go to pubs, restaurants, cinemas, we can even get a haircut, and sailing clubs are now starting to race with club facilities opened with social distancing still in place. And step 4, if we start to see a significant reduction in the hour production rates, then sailing clubs can then start to move back to normality, and then step 5 becomes our new norm, and when COVID-19 is under control. So since the government announcements earlier in May, we have been in attendance with the RYA workshops with other sailing clubs based in the Northwest, where we've sought advice from the RYA and we've learned from other clubs' experiences. With government announcements anticipated on the 1st of June, we do appreciate that it's taken some time and step 1 is almost over, and we're now moving into step 2. This is probably because the RYA and the clubs have ultimately had a lot of work to do to understand what that actually means to make sure we keep members as safe as possible in a sailing fraternity. So our phased reopening commences on Monday the 25th of May. This is step 1, where we'll see limited access to the grounds of the club for essential maintenance and recreational sailing only. From this date, members who do not have their boats at Dave Tomlinson's farm can start to bring them down to the club and then use the same berths as they did last year. Members who do have their dinghies stored at Dave's farm, all these boats will be taken down to the club on Sunday the 31st of May, putting them into the same berths as last season. This will be done with communication with the respective owners, so associated security measures can be made to their boats. With reference to the route map in Jonathan's email, we quickly move into step 2. So on Monday, the 1st of June, then our groups, that's the police, the sea cadets and the scouts, will be able to move their boats down to use the same berths as last season. Small working groups will be organised on Wednesdays between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening, and Sundays between 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This will continue the work that we left off in March, where everything closed down. We'll prepare our club facilities and our boats and make sure we become COVID-19 compliant, especially for steps 2 and steps 3. This will involve work such as grass cutting, jetty repairs and berthing rail repairs. This activity and facilities activity will be led by James Blackford and Andy Cush. Safety boats, the activity will be led by John Close, and club dinghies by Rosemary Benson and Ian Fawkes. The first facilities working group, small working group, will commence on Wednesday the 27th of May. From immediate effect, recreational sailing will be allowed for members' own boats only. That's either a single hander or single household double handers. People must only sail in conditions in line with their capability and do so at their own risk, as no safety boat will be in place. In addition, we will not be allowing people to use club sailing, our club dinghies, any of our club clothing or equipment. Any recreational sailing must be done in adherence to our revised COVID-19 sailing instructions 21.6 and 21.7. 21.6 says, members sailing when safety facilities are not available should take special care in all conditions. It is advisable not to sail, even in calm conditions, if there's no other boats within hailing distance. No recreational sailing will be allowed when wind strengths are above 15 miles an hour. Sailors would need to consider not launching if the wind speed is greater than 10 miles an hour and is coming over from a westerly direction over the bank, where we get some significant shifts on regular occasions. And just to remind people, 21.7, the club is only able to provide safety facilities during club calendar events, racing, training and other planned events such as opens. In steps 1, 2 and 3, we will not have any training and will not have any racing. Attendance to recreational sailing will be limited to 10 boats on any one day. This will be done on a first come first served basis, and to ensure we must comply with social distancing. We must ensure that we can manage the cleanliness of the club, and we also need to make sure our grounds aren't overcrowded. Therefore, members are required to come down changed, ready for sailing, or get changed in their cars. If you're going to come down and you want to come down for sailing, please email me. My email is in Jonathan's message, to ensure that I can monitor how many boats are coming down, but also to make sure that we don't go over the limit of 10 boats. When in attendance at the club, you will have no access to the club house unless it's for essential maintenance or routine maintenance, as it will be later on, with the exception of we will make the disabled toilet available on Wednesday evenings between 4 o'clock and 7, and on Sundays between 10 o'clock and 3. The female and male changing rooms and toilets and showers will not be allowed to be used, and the upper floor of the facility will not be used either. There will be no access to the garage, the workshop, the training office, the OOD box or any storage container unless specific permission has been given as a part of our maintenance working groups through an activity lead. We will set up a duty rota to make sure the clubhouse is open and controlled in that fashion. And outside of these times, the clubhouse will remain closed, and we will put an additional lock on the front door to make sure no key holders can get in the club. The use of the toilets will be on a one person in, one person out, where we'll be expecting members to self-manage their hygiene and comply with social distancing, but also the strict guidelines that we've put in place by the government. Members will be expected to use the hand sanitizer and the sanitising equipment in the disabled toilet. This will be available from Wednesday the 27th of May. For interest, fishing on the ground has not started, so we'll continue to liaise with Dave Tomlinson to make sure that we understand when that's going to happen. The security of the club is paramount. We've already seen that we've had some visitors into the clubhouse to try and access some of our training boats. So please make sure that your boat and trailers are secured accordingly. And the last person that leaves the grounds, please make sure the gate is locked and the combination key is scrambled. Now, one of the reasons to make sure that the activity leads will be monitoring who will be at the club, and I'll be monitoring who's actually going to be doing any recreational sailing in the next few weeks, is if any of you, if you or any members of your household are either self-isolating for health reasons or experiencing any COVID-19 symptoms, you should not come down to the club for any reason. If you have attended the club and subsequently you found yourself with COVID-19 symptoms, please report them immediately to Jonathan or myself, and the emails are in Jonathan's communication. Now, as we know, government guidelines have been heavily caveated and linked to continual positive trends to key measures. So everything, and that includes our route map, could be subject to change. So the CV COVID Action Group will continue to meet on a weekly basis and will react accordingly. Whether the changes have been issued by the government, as we anticipate one on the 1st of June, or any additional advice given to us by RYA or any learning that we get from other clubs in the Northwest, or just as important, any issues identified by our members as to the workability of this plan. I hope this has not been too long a video for you, and it just complements the message that Jonathan has put out. But I look forward to seeing some of you down the club. I'll be down there from Wednesday. So goodbye, stay safe and stay well.